Hello, all my YouTube friends. It's been quite a while since I've updated anything, and yeah, part of that has been just because I've been in a little bit of flux, so I wasn't really sure what the future was holding or where I was gonna be pointing myself. So honestly, I wasn't really sure what to share, so I didn't share anything. But feel like my life is about to, at least I'm about to jump into a new set of adventures, and I think I feel pretty strongly about it. So as you can see, I am not in a car right now. I moved into an apartment in July with a fantastic roommate. It was a very lucky scenario, kind of a friend of friends, but I knew that we would get along great, and just felt like it was kind of the right move at the time. In my last video, I think I may have talked about some of the challenges of living in a car, and one of the main challenges was that in my little sedan, I didn't have a solution for refrigerator or cooking food, and it was affecting my health. And I knew that that needed to be rectified. So to be quite honest, that was really the main reason why I decided to move into an apartment, was because I needed to make sure that I was healthy and taking care of my body, and I wasn't coming up with a good solution to facilitate that in the car. So that's why I moved in. It's been a great experience. I've missed car living a little bit. I've missed parts of it. On the one hand, living in an apartment or house gives you a little sense of stability, I guess, because there's, you talked about the concept of home and like belonging somewhere. And like I have a home and a space, and I can kind of undo and relax and breathe a little bit here instead of being in this tiny little steel box, so to speak. On the other hand, when I was living in the car, I was so flexible and so mobile. I, like going home to Indiana to visit, I didn't have to pack. I just would get in my car after work and I drive to Indiana. I didn't have to prepare for anything. I didn't have to go home. I didn't have to do laundry and clean up the house and like make all these preparations to travel. I just traveled. So that was really nice. And the other thing is like, okay, so I find myself maybe at work during the day and realizing, so sometimes we build sets for photo shoots, and we don't always know the day of that we're going to be building a set. So sometimes I'll walk into work and they'll be like, hey, we're going to paint walls today. And I've got on my nice work clothes. It was handy when I was living in the car because I had work clothes in the car. I just have to go outside and I'm like, okay, I'm prepared for that. I always had all of the things with me that I needed. So I missed that about living in the car. And I've noticed that I got really used to the car in a lot of ways. Like, I still eat in my car. I still hang out in my car and read books. By the way, in one of my videos, it sounds like I say I sell weed out of my car. I don't sell weed. Certainly don't sell it out of my car. I don't have anything to do with that. What I said was I still read in my car. So just to clear up any misconceptions, I do a lot of reading and I do it in my car. So I still do that, and it's just kind of like my little space away from everybody. So there are some aspects that I miss about car living. So that's been on my brain for the past couple months, just kind of transitioning into apartment life. But now, lo and behold, there have been some changes that are going to cause me to look at relocating again. I'm not going to go into what those are because they kind of are on a need-to-know basis right now. But suffice to say, I need to move. And for all good reasons. Like, nothing bad has happened. It's been really, some awesome things have happened in and around me. And a move is just, the need for a move has come about. So, considering my options, there are a number of options, but one of them is moving back into the car and maybe learning from the previous year that I spent in the car and trying to do it maybe different or better. And I think that feels really right. That feels really good, and it feels really comfortable. It feels like it kind of aligns with my values and where I am in life. You know, it's kind of scary, I guess, because, so if I move back into the car, what I have learned is that if I'm going to do it for a long period of time, a sedan is really hard. Not impossible. Obviously, I did it for a year, which, by the way, I did pay off all of my loans. They are gone. I am completely debt-free, $42,000 worth of student loans, gone, offloaded. So, that was a success, and I'm really glad I did it. But a sedan is really difficult to live in. Possible, that's my phone, sorry. Possible, but difficult. The things that make it difficult, like I said, the major things are not being able to refrigerate or cook food. I ended up not really living in the car during the hottest months of the year, July and August, because I moved into the car last year, the end of August, and then I moved into the apartment this year at the beginning of July. So I didn't have to experience that, but knowing how hot it was, and we don't have central air here, we have window units, and it was hard enough to keep this house cool. I can only imagine what it would have been like to be living in the car. So that would have been an issue as well. And then there's just some comfort things that are doable for a certain amount of time, but over a long, extended period of time can really just kind of take a toll on you mentally. Like simple things like not being able to stand up in my dwelling. Like I couldn't stand up. Things like, you know, I think I mentioned this in my last video, is that if I wanted to just like lay down and relax, I had to go through all these steps of preparation to get a space or bed, you know, laid out so that I could lay down and relax. So there's never this time of just being able to like, okay, done and relax. Like that doesn't exist in a sedan, because you're just dealing with very tiny space. The very tiny space. So like I said, possible, glad I did it, but if I'm going to be living mobily for an extended period of time, I imagine that a different type of vehicle would be more suited for that. So, and I had talked about, you know, the concept of maybe purchasing a van. It's something I've thought about before, but I wasn't quite ready to commit to it. I haven't had a car payment ever. I've been really lucky in that arena. But I felt like at the time, if I was going to purchase something, that would put me in the position of having a car payment. And because my whole goal was to get out of debt, it didn't really make sense to then go into debt for a van. But now the student debt is gone. I have zero debt, and I do have now a little bit of savings put back on top of. So the idea of looking at buying a van is a more realistic possibility for me at this point in time than it was then. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. And been doing a little bit of research about how to convert one. You can have solar power, you can have running water, you know, bathrooms and showers. Like there are people that have basically converted vans into little tiny full-fledged houses that facilitate every function that you would need. And some of them you can actually stand up in, and you can leave a bed there without having to roll it into a trunk, which sounds amazing. So I haven't made any total final decisions yet, but I feel like this is kind of where I'm pointing, at least for my next step. I think the other thing that held me back, and this is just something that I struggle with in all areas of my life, is fear of the unknown. Like, decisions that I make now, how is that going to affect me in the future? You know, one of the dynamics is that right now I am not married, I don't have children, I don't have a family, but I want those things someday. So, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what if you move into a van and then all of a sudden those pieces fall into place and then you're stuck with this van that you have to deal with financially and practically. You know, you can't have an entire family in a van. So what are you going to do with this thing? So I think I had a fear of that, just fear of the unknown of what the future holds, you know. And I do that in a lot of areas in my life. I hold back from stepping out in something because, well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And if it goes this way, then that could be a really bad decision. But if it goes this way, it could be great. So I don't know what to do. So then I end up not doing anything. That's not a real fun way to live life. So, I'm that's something I'm working on, is to not be held back by those what if questions. I think it's probably going to take me the rest of my life to get good at that, but I'm working on it. So, the other thing that I have learned is that, especially now, in this generation, the millennials specifically, van living is becoming a more widely acceptable and popular way of living with the really young generations, the millennials specifically, and then the older generations that are retiring. So there is a market for converted vans and for RVs and for motorhomes. So I'm not as worried about the resale value if my life changes in a couple years and I have no use for this thing anymore. I'm not as worried about being stuck with it financially and having this, you know, unusable hole in my, you know, whatever you want to call it, net worth or something, a big chunk of metal in the back that I paid a lot of money for that I can't use. I'm not as worried about that scenario being a reality for me. And so it seems like it's just a wiser time to take this leap and try to make some positive outcomes out of it. So there are all my updates. That's what's going on. And one of the reasons I wanted to put all this out there is because I know that some of you who follow me or have been a part of this journey either were already living in a converted van or you have made the leap into a converted van. And I've watched your stories as well. And it's been amazing to see. And so my questions are, what advice do you have for me? What kind of a vehicle did you look for and why? You know, what type of van and why? Just any tips that anyone out there has about choosing and purchasing a van, where to find them, and things to consider in converting one to make it as livable as possible, as efficient as possible. I'm really interested in being totally off-grid if possible. I don't know. I know that a lot of people still hook up to RV hookups, but I would like to convert this in such a way to use solar power. I don't know if using rainwater is a possibility, but to be as off-grid as I can would be really nice, just so that I'm as flexible as I possibly can be. And there you go. That's so if you have any information or tips, please feel free to comment or message me. I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you all for just your encouragement along the way. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And I will definitely keep you posted as things progress. So hope you enjoy your weekend. Bye.